Hey guys, today we're going to be doing what if Krillin killed Vegeta in the Namek saga. So the way Krillin kills Vegeta is, if you remember, Vegeta asked Krillin to almost kill him so he could get the Zenkai boost after getting healed by Dende. But in this version, Krillin's probably a bit more nervous, and he thinks it'll take more to almost kill Vegeta, so he puts all of his power into the blast. Since it's point blank range, it is like a way bigger hole, like much more damage. It probably just vaporized some organs and stuff like that. So it ends up killing Vegeta on the spot. And even if it didn't kill him on the spot, Frieza just ended up killing Dende a bit earlier than he did in canon. So that's like a few minutes earlier. So Vegeta dies like that. Krillin accidentally killed him. And ongoing from that, there's everything kind of goes normalish. It's like Krillin probably does a solar flare. He goes and they all run away from Frieza. Eventually, Frieza just he starts like everything kind of just goes similar. It's just Krillin and Gohan fighting Frieza, and then eventually Goku wakes up and he goes out of the spaceship. He goes and fights Frieza, and that whole fight goes pretty normal. Pretty much the same to canon. Everything with the rest of the Namek saga pretty much goes the same as canon. But then they end up deciding, when they get back to Earth, they end up deciding to wish everyone back who was killed by Frieza except Vegeta and all the other bad guys. And so they get back to Earth after everything's happened. It kind of goes almost the same as normal. And then Goku gets back to Earth. The whole Future Trunks thing. Future Trunks still comes back in time and informs them about the androids, but he's kind of confused about why Vegeta isn't there with them, since it's pretty much been said, like it's been shown that it it's kind of like the future timeline's just separate completely. So that still goes how it usually goes. So it's kind of separate to this new timeline. So because I'm pretty sure that's how it works. It always stays separate because it's weird multiverse stuff. I don't know how they some weird Dragon Ball time travel stuff. But basically, he's super confused. Why is there no Vegeta? And they kind of explain they didn't wish Vegeta back, and he's like, why? Well, they explain, Vegeta is evil, and he was like using us pretty much in Namek, and we didn't see any reason for us to wish him back. He was an evil guy, and so Trunks kind of just pleads with them to wish him back, and then he leaves, and they're kind of apprehensive, and so all the training stuff goes as normal. Just the thing is, there's no Vegeta, so Vegeta never learns Super Saiyan, and then there's no Kid Trunks because Vegeta and Bulma never even meet each other at this point. So that happens, and there's the big changes happen around now, because if you remember in the android attack, when the androids fought with the Z fighters initially, Android 19 kind of had Goku like pinned down, like he was choking him, and he was like absorbing all the energy out of him. And if Vegeta didn't kick Android 19 out of the way, he would have killed Goku, and that ends up being what happens. Goku dies because there's no Vegeta to get Android 19 off of him, so Goku gets all the energy drained out of him. So now the Z fighters have to figure out a way to actually destroy Android 19, and they kind of use like tactics, and they use their planning and everything, and they end up damaging Android 19. But then Android 19 and Dr. Gero end up getting back to the lab, and so Trunks gets back there and he sees that Goku's dead, Vegeta's still dead, and there's a big mess basically. And so they come up with the idea that they can contact King Kai, and like through like Kami, and so they contact him, and they end up King Kai tells the Namekians to wish Goku and Vegeta back, because Trunks keeps pleading with them, and they just end up caving, and so they end up wishing back Vegeta and Goku, and then they wish them both back to Earth. And so now they're both back, but Vegeta is super confused, and immediately he just goes off on his own, kind of like how he was during that 3-year time skip where they were training. He goes off planet to some random planet, and he starts training to try and access Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan. But yeah, so he goes off, and it's basically like canon Vegeta, but his progress is a few years behind what it's actually supposed to be. It's like 3 years behind, 4 years behind, because he wasn't on Earth. Also, this means there's no Kid Trunks, because Vegeta's never, maybe once or twice, but pretty much never even met Bulma. So there's no Kid Trunks, and Vegeta's just off planet, and they just keep they actually hunt down Dr. Gero's lab. They hunt him down. They finally find him in the cave, and this is because Bulma identified who it was. So they go over there. They're way more cautious now, because this happens before they wished back Goku and Vegeta. So they go there. They end up catching Dr. Gero off guard while he was like fixing Android 19, and Trunks just destroys the entire lab. Trunks, Gohan, and Piccolo and Krillin, they just destroy the entire lab, destroy Android 17, 18, 16, and Dr. Gero, and the cell that was still growing basically in the underground lab. They destroy everything before Dr. Gero can even activate any of the other androids. So they deal with them. The androids are done. Cell is done, basically. Well, that cell. And then Imperfect Cell comes back in time. He doesn't know they're all gone now. And so they can just deal with them quickly. They go over to Ginger Town, I think, was the city or town that whole thing was happening. So they go over there, and they just kill Cell, Imperfect Cell, easily. And so most of the Android saga is just cut out, and basically it just continues. So that means Vegeta ends up learning Super Saiyan during the 7-year time gap where they're all training. That's when Vegeta learns Super Saiyan at first. So that means it takes longer for him to actually learn Super Saiyan 2, because I still think they'd probably all learn Super Saiyan 2 anyways, like normal. And maybe Goku would, let's say Goku would still learn Super Saiyan 3, and just for the sake of simplicity, I guess. And so that also happens. It just means that Vegeta is less experienced in Super Saiyan 2, since it took him 3 years anyways to learn Super Saiyan 1 in canon. And well, he learned it in those 3 years, so let's say it took around 3 years. And that means the remainder of that 7 years is just learning Super Saiyan 2. So he's less experienced in Super Saiyan 2, but he still has enough experience to get by properly without too many issues. But basically, they just continue on with the Buu saga. Everything in the Buu saga pretty much goes normal. It's just there's no Kid Trunks at the earlier point. So like either there's either no Kid Trunks or there is like a super young Kid Trunks. Like he was already young before in canon, but he's like a toddler or like super young at this point because he was born afterwards. And so yeah, that kind of happens. So Kid Trunks is he's not as he's either not as strong or he just doesn't exist. And so they end up taking down Boo. It kind of just goes normal. The main changes in this What If are pretty much just in the Namek saga, where there's some changes, and then in the Android saga, and then Vegeta is just a bit weaker than he would be in the Buu saga than in canon. And basically, in the version where Trunks is still there and he's just younger, so he's weaker, the fusion and everything still happens in that version. Or otherwise, they could just, since Goku's still alive, they wouldn't need to fuse, and so Goku and Vegeta and maybe even Gohan, they all team up together and they end up beating Buu. So that all can happen, and so it's either Trunks doesn't exist and this all happens, or even if Trunks did exist, then it kind of goes like canon, just Trunks is weaker. Or even if Trunks did get born, if he did exist, um, it kind of just goes like where the adult Saiyans team up and they beat Boo. Because, yeah, I mean, if Trunks was weaker, uh, or he didn't exist, Goku, since he's still alive, since they revived him for, in the Android saga at the end, so they could just deal with that. The adult Saiyans would deal with that as normal, um, like as they usually do, just not how they did in canon because Goku was dead in canon and he wanted the future generations to deal with it themselves. So, yeah, that's the what if for today. And yeah, this is probably only one part. I don't see a need for there to be another part because after this, Super is pretty much the same. It's basically the exact same for Dragon Ball Super, so there isn't really a need for there to be any more parts of this. So, yeah, that's the end of this What If. Only one part, and yeah, bye guys.